So now we're going to take care of the top of our subject's head. So I'm going to hold shift and click on our layer mask and just kind of take a look at what we've got going here. And I think for the most part we should be able to use one of our earlier brushes. So let's save this brush before we get started here. So we're just going to say new brush preset, call that mustache 1. Let's go B to our brush tool and we'll just try hair group 04, which we used in a previous tutorial. There we go. Shift, click on that layer mask. Let's make a new layer here, and I'm just going to use my brush tool to kind of see what we got going on here. And it looks like this is going to work pretty well, actually. So let's bring back our pen tool. We'll just delete that layer. There we go. We're going to bring back our pen tool. So let's hit P for the pen tool and start off with just a simple shape there. Let's, on our layer mask, there we are. We're going to right click and go down to stroke path, and I just selected our brush that we used in our previous tutorial, so it's going to stroke that with this brush. We're going to turn on simulate pressure and hit OK. Alright, and we'll see how this looks. It's a start, not there just yet, obviously. Let's try it again, stroke the path. Okay, and there we go. Let's try it again. Alright, this is looking good. Let's go back to our brush tool. We're going to turn transfer off for now. We're going to bring up our minimum diameter just a little bit, and let's go back to our pen tool and we'll stroke this path again. Alright, so same idea here as with our last one. We're just dealing with a few qualities that are changing, right? Like the hair itself is changing from one part of the haircut to another. So we need to be sure that we are changing our hair to accommodate that. Alright, looking pretty good. Let's bring this back there. Stroke that path again. Perfect. Now we'll bring this up. I'm going to hold shift and click on the layer mask just so I get a little bit of a better sense of what we're doing here. You know, we do have a lot of this hair that's kind of following this rule, but we are going to most definitely have flyaways also. There we are. So let's just create a new brush. It's very easy to do. So let's hit B for the brush tool. We're going to right click. Just go to like a regular old brush. Doesn't matter. All we need is a hardness of about 50%. Okay. And on a new layer, we're just going to paint with black. I just want this to be a super dense brush. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller because around the edges I just want those to be like finer hairs. So we're even more dense now. Let's make our selection M for the marquee tool. We'll just go ahead and define brush preset. Dense hair. There we go. Shape dynamics. Turn our size jitter to pen pressure, our spacing all the way to 1%. Alright, and there we go. Oh yeah, that's pretty dense. Alright, well let's see how that works. Cool. So let's go ahead, and this layer we don't need, so we'll just delete the layer. And then P for the pen tool. You want to make sure you're on your layer mask, not your layer. Okay, a little bit, maybe a little bit too dense, but actually it looks really good. So let's right click here again, let's stroke that path again. I think we're just a little bit too large, so let's make our brush a little smaller, and we'll bring up our minimum diameter. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I think that's actually working pretty well. It's working faster anyway. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, back to our brush tool, I'm going to bring our minimum diameter down again, because we're going to start working on some of these hairs that are just a little bit different. There we go. So these are the ones I just wanted to kind of end small. So let's go back to our layer mask, P for the pen tool, let's stroke the path. There we are, and that looks pretty good. And now we're going to start doing some, let's hold shift to click on our layer mask, because I kind of want to match what's going on here. There we go. Let's stroke the path again. There we are. Kind of bring that back in there. So you can see we're able to imitate what's going on here. And it should look like, you know, hair. It should look pretty realistic, right? Especially because we're kind of following the actual shape of the hair from our subject's head. Yeah, that looks cool. So we'll bring this here again. You can see I'm just trying to trace the major hair paths there. Bring one in there. Bring one over there. There we are. Shift click up there again. And after I get done with all these like major ones, we're just going to simply make the brush smaller, and that's going to kind of get in all of the rest of the detail that we want. Nice. Okay, let's hold shift and click on the layer mask again, just because I want to be sure I'm getting about the shape. It's looking a little bit repetitive, so I just want to make sure that, you know, my shapes are not super repeating. Because if they look like they're just repeating over and over again, it's gonna just look fake. See, this is starting, that up there is starting to look fake. But it's okay, we can fix it. Alright, so let's go back to our brush tool. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller now, and we'll start filling in some more details. There we are. Let's go back up here. Okay, fill that in down there. Kind of get some. There we go. A little bit of, you know, going the other way. Just to help it look real. bit of crisscrossing going on here. Okay, bring this up and around. This is just going to kind of help it intersect the hair that's there and give it just a little bit more depth there. Alright, and let's just bring some of this up as well. So Control or Command, just bring, you know, because every now and then you get a hair that's just like not going with the flow of the rest of it, right? Cool. Well, I think that's looking really, really good. Let's just go off of our pen path real quick and take a look. Yeah, that looks just really good. You know, from the back all the way to the front. Let's go back to our layers here. We're going to click on our layer mask. We'll just use our blur tool on our layer mask just a little bit. Just to kind of blur the edge, you know, especially around here. Just blur that a little bit. Same on our subject's arm. Yeah, we should probably include this on our subject's arm too, right? So let's go back to our beard. Just painting like super small, you know, just like that basically, but I'm just like slightly inside the border of our subject's arm. That just helps it look a little bit more realistic. You can just paint black if it's like in anywhere. If you painted it anywhere that you don't want to paint it, just paint black on your layer mask. Alright, there we go. Kind of just blur that in place because it's kind of out of focus anyway. Just a little bit. A little bit of blur really can help out quite a bit. And that's like mostly photographic anyway. Like the edges of objects usually do have a little bit of blur to them. If they're too sharp, they just look like they're Photoshoppy. You really don't want that. So this blur tool on the layer mask can actually be really nice. Let's do a little bit of a blur over here on his forehead. You can see just even there's the before and the after. Makes it look a lot more real. Now let's grab our brush here. We're just going to go back up to our Flern Hair 1. Okay, and I'm just going to pop some flyaways in here. There we go. Just like individual hairs that are kind of just like, hey, we're doing our own thing. That's just going to help everything look more realistic. There we go. Even here, sometimes you just get a few like slightly longer ones. Alright, and same thing with there. And we'll paint his eyelashes in here. Okay, that's looking really good. Now, we're almost done here. Let's just paint black right there. There we are. We're almost done. We just need to extend some of this texture on out to the beard. So we'll create a new layer, make sure to clip that layer, and then we can use our clone stamp tool. So we'll clone stamp this, you know, on out to the edge there, and that just helps, you know, anywhere where it looks kind of like, grab some of this beard texture there. Oh, that did not work there. you know, anywhere where just we're grabbing some of the background, we just want to replace that with hair. There we go. Head actually looks really good. You can do that right around here as well. So here too, where, you know, it's pulling in some of the background, not a big deal. Just pop that clone stamp, and then we're just still have a really nice edge. You can see, doesn't that edge look nice? Looks like there's hair there, but it's slightly out of focus. There we go. So our edge looks really good. And yeah, all in all, I'd say that's a pretty great cutout. Beard and short hair. Yeah, I think that looks really good. This area here is just a little bit like, I think we just need a couple more like transition items. So let me just go back to our layer mask. Paint white on our layer mask. Something like that. Just kind of notate. We got a change in direction of the subject's hair here. Sticking some of those out there. I think that helps make it just look like more realistic. Yeah, there we go. So our layer mask looks like, you know, looks like there's a part here with some hair that kind of sticks up. Well, there we go. We are looking super good. Let's hold Alt or Option, take a look at our layer mask, and all this detail, all this really nice hair detail all around our subject. We did arm hair, we did head hair, and a few different types of head hair too. You know, really short buzz on the back here. We did a little bit of a mix right here. We've just got some comb over and then some, you know, some short kind of wisps of hair. We've got eyebrow hair, eyelash, mustache. We did differently, and beard we did differently as well. So I think this looks fantastic. Subjects cut out from the background super well. Well, that wraps up how to cut out hair in Photoshop. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned a ton. Now, if you haven't already done so, please leave a review on Phlearn.com. It helps us out a ton, and it helps everyone else out know what you thought of the tutorial. Thanks again. I'll Phlearn you later. Bye, everyone.